Good evening and welcome to another episode with Cooking with Stir Crazy. My name is Chef Jody O'Connor. I'm going to be showing you a very special recipe, one that I've worked on a little bit and put together, something that I'm sure all of you are craving. That's very similar to another fast food restaurant. I shall not mention their names. However, this is a recipe, again, I've put together that we can enjoy in case you're getting those cravings, and I call it JFC because it's Jody's fried chicken. So first thing, as we normally do, we're going to go through some of the ingredients and the equipment that's needed, and then I'm going to show you how to actually put the whole thing together. Alright, so first thing, if you come take a look here, you'll notice I've got a whole bunch of ingredients already measured out. So we're going to start with from the top, and we're going to just work through everything and the amount. I'm going to switch that off so it's a little bit quieter. There we go. Alright. Yeah?
Wow, this is very quiet.
Right? Alright. So first we start off, we need 5 cups of plain flour. Then we need 4 tablespoons of paprika. You can use a smoked paprika or sweet paprika, any type of paprika. Obviously that will affect the ultimate outcome because it is your largest quantity of item. So if you use a smoked paprika, you'll end up with a more smoky flavor. The next one is 2 tablespoons of white ground pepper, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. Alternatively, if you do not have garlic powder on hand, you can take garlic flakes and you can crush them up. The next one, which is this over here, is 1 tablespoon of ground ginger. The next is 1 tablespoon of ground mustard. I got 2 tablespoons of celery salt or a herbal salt, whichever one. This is a herbal salt, works just as good as a celery salt. Then we go down to 1 tablespoon of our black pepper sitting over there. The next is half a tablespoon of oregano, of thyme, half a tablespoon of oregano, and 1/3 of a teaspoon of salt, just plain straightforward salt. We also going to need a little bit of self-raising flour. This is an extra little bit. I definitely highly recommend Cape Herb & Spice. The brand is also very good. I use them quite often. This I've purely put here in case you guys wanted to see that you can add other stuff. This is obviously a chili and garlic herb mixture. Adding that to your mixture will obviously give it a little bit more spice, a little bit more garlicky. Might be
a little bit more zinger.
A little bit more zinger, there we go. Just so you can essentially be a little bit creative on that. This is the basics in terms of the flour or the mix that you need to make this recipe to get it as close to something that you might be familiar with than what we are putting together. Other than that, you also need eggs, 2-3 eggs depending on how much you're going to do. For the amount of chicken that I've got here, which is 10 pieces, I believe, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes, I can count. 10 pieces of chicken I'm going to be doing. They're all going to be drumsticks. I will be doing a chicken breast as well because this is obviously supper and I want a burger and I want a crunchy chicken fried burger. So I'm going to be doing one just now. I will send you guys a photo once we're done with everything. As we normally, we will send our photos through onto our Facebook page and you'll be able to see it how it's made there. It will be done the exact same way that the chicken legs are being done, just obviously it will be a chicken breast instead. Okay, so that's the and then you'll need a pot of oil. If you have a deep fryer, a large one, even better because it's a lot safer obviously, because you need your temperature to be relatively exact. As you can see, I have a thermometer here. So you need your temperature to be at about 160, 170 around there. If you look at the recipe on the website, it's very exact. It's 162.5 degrees. Obviously, it's very difficult to get that because, especially using a gas stove, I'm going to get it to about between 160 and 170. That's where I'm going to play with it. Then what will happen is once we fry them, once we make our mix and we fry them, they go into an oven. Your oven needs to be at 180. The reason being is it's just hot enough to slowly cook it a little bit, but it's not hot enough to completely burn it because obviously no one wants burned food regardless of what it is. So what we'll do is we will fry it, we will take it out, we'll put it into our preheated oven at 180, let it sit there for about 5-10 minutes, and then the secret to it is putting it back in the fryer just before you're about to serve it. That not only gives it color, but it gives it a bit of flavor and it gives it a bit of crunchiness. That's what you're looking for. From there, you can serve it straight up. You obviously put onto some paper towel and then you can put onto a plate, put on the table, and they stay crispy for a very long time. Again, I made this recipe about a few days ago. And just for a taste test, I let the chicken sit there for, I think it was about an hour outside, not anything there, and it stayed nice and crispy for quite a while. So obviously better to cook it and eat it straight away. I mean, no reason to be leaving that type of food lying around for an hour, but the fact is you can leave it there if you really want to. The secret to this is once you've done your first fry, and you put it into your oven, you can leave it in that oven for a good half an hour. Maybe you've got it already, everyone's gone for a shower, you can say, okay, supper time, you literally take it out into the fryer, you serve it to them straight away. It's a good way to work around. Alright. And then we're going to need a mixing bowl, obviously, to mix our flours together, plus a little tweezers, tongs to actually pull the chicken out there, because who wants to put their hand into hot oil? It's fried chicken, it's not fried fingers. I know it's finger licking good, but it's not what we're going for. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump straight into it and start doing our mixtures. Now when it comes to your ingredients, again, it's pretty straightforward. You're literally going to take your 5 cups of flour, and you're going to take all your ingredients and you're literally going to throw it all together. As straightforward as that. So we go, our pepper, we go, our garlic powder, we go, our ginger powder, there we go, our mustard powder, we got our black pepper, ground black pepper, our thyme, our oregano, some herbal salts, and obviously our paprika. Mix it all together. So now what this does is this, and our salt. There we go. So now what this does is this makes what I like to call as your base mixture.
Right, question from Sandra.
Yes.
Can you use freshly minced garlic and ginger if you don't have powdered?
You can. I wouldn't. Just hold on. Sorry, all the spices in my nose there. You can. The problem with doing that is that stuff is wet, and as you can see, this is a dry mixture. So if you've got a dried garlic or ginger, that could work. And also the flavors are slightly different, so I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not going to say you can't do it, but I wouldn't recommend it.
We haven't tried it. So
we haven't tried it, so I can't say yes or no on that.
Give it a whirl, Sandra, and let us know.
Alright, so now we're going to just mix the whole thing through. So as I was saying, this is now your base flour. This has all the flavor in it, this has everything. But the one thing missing from this is the puffing up of the actual batter itself. And that's where the self-raising flour comes in. So once this is done, you can store this in your cupboard for however long you can store flour for, which is a long time. What you're going to do is you're going to take this as your base, you mix it with your self-raising flour. Now the ratio is pretty straightforward. For every 3 of whatever, so let's say we're doing cups, for every 3 cups of your base mixture is 1 cup of your self-raising mixture. That will not only give it a nice little a puff, but it will spread it out a little bit further where this will actually go. And as you can see, it does make quite a lot. You could probably do a whole service with this if you really wanted to, but we're not going to be doing that. So what we're going to be doing is taking everything here, taking our bowl. As you can see, it's a bit of a bigger bowl. And like I say, for every 3 cups, so this is a half a cup. So I'll be doing 1.5 cups. So there's 1, 2.
So 3 parts to 1 part.
That's it. 3. Okay. That's 3 parts of my base mixture. 1 part self-raising flour. Just like that. Alright. So now what you're going to do is you're going to give this a nice good mix. And now you've got flavor, and you've got puffiness, and you've got flour and spices, and you've got all the goodness there. And right there, that is your secret. This is what's going to make whatever you're going to be cooking. It doesn't even have to be chicken. It can be beef, it can be prawns, it can be anything you want. This is what you're going to be using. It's an interesting choice of music, I was going to say. Alright. I forgot to move. Alright. So now that you got your base mixture, now we're going to put that aside. Again, this can, if you want, you can make this a day or 2 ahead and you can make it there, but it's always best to do it as fresh as possible. The next thing we're going to be doing is cracking eggs into another bowl. So just like that. I always get so scared that there's something wrong with an egg and you open it and it's nasty.
I've had that happen to me
I've had it
once.
happen to me too. It's not a fun thing to do. Alright, so all you're going to do is you're just going to break those eggs up, give them a nice good mix and whisk up. Alright. Okay. So now the magic shall begin. First thing we're going to do, again, make sure your oil temperature is at proper temperature. So we're going to take our thermometer, stick it into the oil, and we're going to watch that needle rise. I don't know if you can see it rising. It's rising pretty quickly. So you can see, so this thermometer only goes up to 100, but if I get it down to about where the C and F are, that should be hot enough for what we're about to do. So as you can see, it's going quite nicely up, so I'm going to say that is ready to go, because being that that is the top of it, if I go too much, it might just explode in my face, and no one wants that, especially me. Alright, now the magic can begin. One thing before we get started, one thing before we get started is you are dealing with hot oil. Okay, please be very careful. If you can, get gloves on, anything like that. I have done this many times before, that's why I am doing it barefoot as per usual.
And has very many scars thanks to it.
Well, I don't actually.
You do, you fried your fingers once.
I did, yes. I deep fried it actually. Alright, so...
Oh, Lucy, would this work in an air fryer?
That was a question that was asked earlier today, and to be honest, I'm not sure. I want to say yes because of how it works, but I don't have an air fryer myself and I haven't tested it. You are more than welcome to give it a test and give us a shout and say if it did or didn't work. If you do, rather do a small piece of chicken or whatever you're going to be doing just to test it out. I do want to get myself an air fryer, but as it stands right now, I'm going to say no because I don't know. Alright.
So give it a try, Lucy, and then let us know if it works.
Yes. Alright, before we get started on this, I believe there is a happy birthday toast going out.
Yes! Happy birthday, Jenny J!
Happy birthday, Jenny. Congratulations on your birthday. Sucks that you're doing in quarantine, but we're going to cheers for you anyway.
Clinkies! Gin and tonics for Jenny.
There we go. Alright, now what we're going to do, we're going to take our chicken. As you can see, it's just so straightforward. I haven't done anything to this whatsoever. I haven't seasoned it, I haven't cut it in any way. It's just as we got it. What you're going to be doing, throw that into your egg mixture. You want to try a little massage it, try get into all the little gaps if there are any, and just really give this a nice good egg coat. Just like that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take the smallest parts of the chicken, so you're not just going to grab it like that, you're going to grab the end of it, you're going to dip the egg out so it doesn't drip anymore, like that, and then you're going to plop that in there, just like that. Obviously you're dealing with eggs, so you want to wipe your hands down, and then you want to give this a nice little coat, and you want to get your fingers in there. That's why you want to dry your hands, and you want to make sure this is nicely coated and whatnot, just like that. Now I don't know if you guys have seen certain commercials, so when you do that and it goes it looks the same thing, it really does. Alright, so as you can see here, so if I just gently dab it off, as you can see the chicken is nicely coated. There's no raw chicken sticking out anywhere, just like that. I do not recommend, I know someone's going to ask, can you double dip it? I do not recommend this because I did attempt this and did try it, and I found that the batter itself became very floury and very thick and wasn't what we're trying to achieve. Alright, so there we go. So that's what you're looking for, nicely floured chicken, just like that. Now comes the fun part. Now we get to dip it into our thing. So I'm going to switch the extractor on. So
and I'm staying this side.
So now we drop it in. Make sure it fries nicely. Beautiful. Drop it in. Now, depending on the size of your fryer, you could do up to, I don't know, 1,000 if you have a massive pot. But you really shouldn't be doing that many.
The Snoop could do 1,000.
You get those big stock pots that would be like bigger than the stove. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be frying this for about 5 minutes. Now, it's important that you fry it for so long in the fryer, boiling like this. If it's a gas stove, you want to turn the temp up when you start because it's going to cool the oil down. So you turn it up, just need to maintain the temperature. The reason you're cooking for so long is because it's a relatively big piece of chicken. And you want to keep an eye on it because it's going to fry, it's going to make a lot of noise. Be very careful. If you have an oil net or strainer, put it on top to make sure that it doesn't spatter anyway. But again, be very careful when this is going, because you can burn yourself. And as I said just now, we don't want you to burn your fingers because it's supposed to be licking fingers, not eating fingers. Alright. So all you're going to do every now and then is give it a toss here and there. Just like that. And that will start giving it its color and start cooking the chicken nicely. So while that's busy frying, I'm going to do a couple more. And this is what you should be doing when you are making it. Because depending on your pot, this pot I probably could get about 3 chicken pieces in. Obviously you'll need to keep an eye on that. It might be better to do all 3 at the same time so they cook evenly, otherwise you might lose them in the oil, and you might have an undercooked chicken and nobody wants an undercooked chicken, or you might have an overcooked chicken and no one wants an overcooked chicken either. So while that's busy, I'm literally going to take 2 more pieces and get them ready, toss them around, just like that. At the same time, while I'm busy doing this, I'm also keeping an eye out on my chicken at the back there. And quick little peek at it, see how it's looking. Oh yeah, that's looking good, alright. That's looking good. Alright, keep that going for a while. So again, I'm going to come back here, make sure everything's nicely coated. Yeah.
Kevin, don't get oil on that t-shirt.
That's right, that's right. So as you can see, the only problem is it's not in slow motion, so it's going faster. There we go. Fantastic. Alright, we'll give that a nice good mix around. There we go, nicely covered. If you wanted to, you could continue with the egg and keep filling up the bowl. Yeah. Alright, so we're just kind of turning this around every now and then. Note how far away I'm standing. Note that I'm not getting my fingers in there if I'm using a towel. Alright, so they can cook nicely like that. So I'm just going to continue here, get another 2 legs going, get that in there nicely. Is there any questions so far? Anything else?
No, no questions there.
Fantastic. Alright, so just going to continue, get all that egg in, you don't want too much excess egg. Drop that into the flour, give it a nice good mix. There.
That smells good.
That definitely does. Alright, so give these chicken pieces a nice good mix in the flour. There we go. And now we can let that sit there and dry a little bit. I'm just going to wash my hands with all the extra flour on it. And come back to my frying piece over here. Take a look at it. There we go. So if you want to take a look and see what it looks like, you'll see that it's looking remarkably similar, as you can see. Alright, so now we're going to take this into our oven, our preheated oven. Note that there's a tray with some paper towel. I'm just going to put that straight onto it. It's at 80 degrees. I'm just going to let that sit there until I start frying everything else. So, for the sake of this video, what I'm going to be doing is I'll be frying these off in a little bit. The next thing you want to do is once that chicken has been sitting in there for anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, however long you would like it to be, you're going to be taking your chicken out and you're going to be refrying it. Now again, for the sake of this video, I'm going to do that now just so you guys can see how it's actually put together. So this stuff you push to the side and you move everything away. Alright. So let's pretend it's been 5 minutes now. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your chicken, and this is how industrially it actually gets done as well. It gets pre-fried, gets put into a warmer drawer or a warm oven, and then when an order comes through, it comes out straight into an oven.
Fryer.
Okay?
Straight into a fryer.
A fryer, sorry. So you take it out just like that, and it should have cooled down a bit so I can hold it now. I mean, take a look at that. Doesn't that just look delicious? It certainly does. Certainly, oh, it smells delicious. So now we're going to take this chicken, as we did just now. So drop it in. This will not only give it a lot of color, but we'll just finish it off and keep that crisp. As you can see, it splits and spats quite a lot. And this you fry for about another minute or so, just to give it that extra bit of crispiness and that beautiful color that you're looking for. Alright. Thank you, Luca. Don't be shy.
I don't want it.
Alright. Alright, cool. So that needs another, say, 30 seconds or so. It's looking really, really good. The color is really coming out nicely. Again, when it comes to cooking it, it all depends on your cooking preference. If you want the skin or whatnot to be too crispy, then you could take it out now. Because remember that initial cook and in the oven at that temperature is hot enough to cook it, but not overcook it where it dries out too much. I wouldn't recommend leaving it in the oven for more than a half an hour to an hour because that's just going to really dry it out and you do not want that to happen. So again, we fried it beautifully. It's really looking good. The color is really coming out nicely. I'll leave it in there for another 30 more seconds so we can come together. While that's happening, I have a sip of my gin. So cheers everyone.
Can you reuse that oil?
Yes, you definitely can. You need to be careful when reusing it. Make sure that the oil is not too dark. As you can see, that oil is not too dark at the moment. If you have an oil strainer, even better. You can strain it through once it's cold. Otherwise, you let it sit overnight, let it cool down, and then you can strain it either through a cloth if you want to throw one away, or you can just slowly pour it out, and most of the sediment will settle at the bottom of the pot. Right, so this should be done now. So we take it out, straight into our thing here. Obviously, you can see it is crazy hot at the moment, so be very careful. Now we want to dab it out a little bit. Just roll it up.
Chicken a blanket.
Yeah. Okay, get all that oil off. And now we got our fried chicken.
Oh, it smells incredible.
There we go. And then you can just go ahead and grab it and eat. Now I'm not gonna, I was actually planning to take a bite of it, but it is extremely hot right now. And I didn't want to actually taste myself it tonight. So that is how you do it. As you can see, beautifully fried chicken. Again, you can fry this to your preference in terms of color. You can see this is a nice one. I think it's quite a nice color on this one. Not too dark, not too light. And there you go, beautiful, I think. There you go. So now thank you very much for joining. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the recipe because it is a pretty good one. Always be happy to tweak it in any way you want. If you want it to be more salty or less salty, however it may be. I found that this is quite close to the original recipe if you know what I'm talking about. However, it is really cool, relatively easy. As you can see, it's only been a half an hour once everything's ready. And yeah, so thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheerio. Bye.